ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. Sarvam Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Today we are reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, Text 32. Before we start the discussion, let's sing Jai Radha Madhava. Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari, Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana, Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Yamuna Tira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Radha Govinda, Radha Govinda, Shri Radhe, Jaya Nitai Sachinandana Gaura Hari, Nitai Sachinandana Gaura Hari, Jaya Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva, Jaya Panchatattva, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Jai Om Sripad Paramahansa Parivrajakacarya Stottra Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्रीला हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय। मथुरा धाम की जय। गंगा माई की जय। यमुना माई की जय। तुलसी देवी की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vishwaya. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Vishwaya. Vishnu Bhaktivedanta Swami Name. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today we are reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, Text 32. The verse is Kechidahur ajam jatam punyashlokasya kirtaye yadopriyasya vaye malayasyeva chandanam. Kechidahur ajam jatam punyashlokasya kirtaye yadopriyasya vaye malayasyeva chandanam. Kechidahur ajam jatam punyashlokasya kirtaye yadopriyasya vaye malayasyeva chandanam. Word by word, Kechid, someone, Ahu says, Ajam, the unborn, Jatam, being born, Punya Shlokasya, of the great pious kings, Kirtaye, for glorifying, Yado, of King Yadu, Priyasya, of the deer, Anbavaye, in the family of Malayasya, Malaya hills, Eva as Chandanam, sandalwood. Translation. Some say that the unborn is born for the glorification of pious kings, and others say that he is born to please King Yadu, one of your dearest devotees. You appear in his family as sandalwood appears in the Malaya hills. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki Jai. Because the Lord's appearance in this material world is bewildering, there are different opinions about the birth of the unborn. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that he takes his birth in the material world, although he is the Lord of all creations and he is unborn. So there cannot be any denial of the birth of the unborn because he himself establishes the truth. But still there are different opinions as to why he takes his birth. That is also declared in the Bhagavad Gita. He appears by his own internal potency to re-establish the principles of religion and to protect the pious and to annihilate the impious. That is the mission of the appearance of the unborn. Still, it is said that the Lord is there to glorify the pious king Yudhishthira. Lord Sri Krishna certainly wanted to establish the kingdom of the Pandavas for the good of all in this world. When there is a pious king ruling over the world, the people are happy. When the ruler is impious, the people are unhappy. In the age of Kali, in most cases, the rulers are impious, and therefore the citizens are continuously unhappy. But in the case of democracy, the impious citizens themselves elect their representative to rule over them, and therefore they cannot blame anyone for their unhappiness. Maharaj Nala was also celebrated as a great pious king, but he had no connection with Lord Krishna. Therefore, Maharaj Yudhishthira is meant here to be glorified by Lord Krishna. The Lord had already glorified King Yadu, having taken birth in his family. Although he is known as Yadava, Yaduvira, Yadunandana, etc., he is always independent of such obligation. He is just like the sandalwood that grows in the Malaya hills. Trees can grow anywhere and everywhere, yet because the sandalwood trees grow mostly in the area of the Malaya hills, the name sandalwood and the Malaya hills are interrelated. Therefore, the conclusion is that the Lord is ever unborn like the sun, and yet he appears as the sun rises on the eastern horizon. As the sun is never the sun of the eastern horizon, so the Lord is no one's son, but he is the father of everything that be. Om Ajnanatirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Namashreshtham Manamapi Shachiputram Atra Swarupam Rupam Tasyagrajam Murupurim Mathurim Goshthavati Radha Kundam Girivaram Aho Radhika Madhavasham Prapto Yasya Pratita Kripaya Shri Gurum Tam Natosmi Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Adadandastrinam Dante Idam Yacha Puna Puna Shriman Rupa Padambhojam Dholisyam Janma Janmani He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Today we are reading from Srimad-Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, Text 32. Kechidahur ajam jatam punya shlokasya kirtaye yadupriyasyan bhavaye Malayasyeva Chandanam. Some say that the unborn is born for the glorification of pious kings, and others say that he is born to please King Yadu, one of your dearest devotees. You appear in his family as sandalwood appears in the Malaya hills. This is another beautiful prayer by the pure devotee of Krishna, Srimati Kunti Devi. And here she is explaining about how Krishna, even though he is unborn, he takes birth. Ajopi san avyayatma, bhutanam ishwaropi san, prakritim swam adhishtaya, sambhavamyatma mayaya. So Krishna says to Arjuna in Bhagavad Gita that Ajopi san avyayatma, that even though I am unborn and eternal, bhutanam ishwaropi san, and even though I am the Lord of all the living entities, Bhutanam Ishwaropi san, Prakritim Swam Adhishtaya Sambhavamyatma Mayaya. So, Prakritim Swam Adhishtaya. So, taking my material energy, the internal potency, I myself, Prakritim Swam Adhishtaya Sambhavamya Atma Mayaya. So, through my internal potency, I descend. So, this is the Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chatushkritam dharma samsthapanarthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Krishna mentions why he takes birth. So whenever there is discrepancy in executing the religious principles, dharmasya glani bhavati bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya, to bring back the religious principles, tadat manam srajamyaham. So again Krishna says that I, by my internal potency, I descend myself. Srajamyaham paritranaya sadhuna. So then in the next verse, Krishna says that in order to deliver the pious people, and vinashaya cha dushkritam. So whoever are the miscreants, to annihilate them, dharma samsthapanarthaya, and to establish the religious principles, sambhavami yuge yuge. In every yuga, I descend myself. This is an interesting day today as well. There is a festival from the part of the country in India where I come from. It's called Kerala. And there's a festival called Onam in Kerala today. And Onam actually signifies the coming back of Mahabali. He's also called as Maveli in Kerala. So it's coming. We know this wonderful story about how. So this is a part of Atma Nivedanam, where Mahabali or Bali Maharaj gave himself to the lotus feet of Vamanadev. So we know this wonderful prayer from Jayadev Goswami in the Dashavatara Stotra. So where he says that Chalayasi Vikramane Balim Adbhuta Vamana Padanaka Neera Janita Jana Pavana Keshava Dhrita Vamana Rupa Jaya Jagadisha Hare. So this Chalayasi Vikramane Balim Adbhuta Vamana. So Srila Prabhupada actually mentions in this verse about how when there is a pious king ruling over the world, the people are happy. And exactly the same words are used in one of the songs in today's Onam festival. So how Krishna is arranging that we are discussing this particular verse in the day of Onam. And the Srila Prabhupada is actually mentioning one of the local dialects in Malayalam where it is said that the Maveli, the most pious king Mahabali, is returning back on this day. So when there is a pious king ruling over the world, the people are happy. And exactly the same words are used in that particular song in Malayalam. So we know the story where this Mahabali is he's a pious king, and he is actually grandson of Prahlad Maharaj. However, because he's in the kind of demoniac dynasty, the Krishna actually incarnates as Vamanadev, the dwarf Brahmana incarnation, and he asks for 3 steps of land from Bali Maharaj, Mahabali. So he's called as Maveli in Kerala. Mahabali. So the 3 steps of land are asked, and Shukracharya, the guru of Bali Maharaj, actually says that he is Vishnu himself who has come in the form of dwarf Brahmana, and don't give anything to him. But Bali Maharaj is so much surrendered onto the lotus feet of Vamanadev that he disregards the instruction of his material guru. So this is the state of the pure devotees of the Lord, that they are one-pointed in their devotional service to the Lord. Ananya cheta satatam yo mam smarati nityasha tasyaham sulabha partha nitya yuktasya yogina. So Krishna mentions in Bhagavad Gita that Ananya cheta, so one who is constantly in the mind remembering me, satatam yo, always, mam smarati nityasha, always thinking about me. Again, the same word is used, nityasha, constantly. Tasyaham sulabha partha. So Krishna says that for such a person, I am easily available, sulabha. So I am easily attainable to such a person. Tasyaham sulabha partha. Why? Because nitya yuktasya yogina. Because the person is engaged in constantly remembering me, I am easily attainable to such a person. So this is what was the state of Maharaj Bali. He was grandson of Prahlad Maharaj. So undoubtedly, he has those qualities. And generally, they say that even more than the properties that a son gets from the direct father, the more properties are coming from grandfather. Generally, that's what is said. So here we can very clearly see in this example as well, Bali Maharaj is grandson of Prahlad Maharaj, and we see he's got all the good qualities that Prahlad Maharaj had. So therefore he is Mahajana as well. Prahlado Janako Bhishmo Balir Vaya Sakir Vayam. So Prahlad and Bali both are Mahajans. So Swayambhu Narada Shambhu Kumara Kapila Manu Prahlado Janako Bhishmo Balir Vaya Sakir Vayam. So this is said by Yamadev. He says, who are the 12 Mahajans whose instructions have to be followed by all. Mahajano yena gatasya pantha tarko apratishtat shrutayo vibhinna nashav rishiv yasya matam na bhinnam dharmasya tattvam vihitam guhayam mahajano yena gatasya pantha. This is said in this scriptures in Mahabharata Vanaparva that in order to understand the intricacies of engaging in devotional service, it cannot be understood by tarka vitarka, it is said. What is tarka is logical discussions, logical sometimes arguments as well. So that is tarka. Tarko apratishtat. So through the logical discussions and logical deliberations, Krishna cannot be known. Shrutayo vibhinna. One can hear from various sources, but if it is not related to the glories of Krishna, then that has no meaning. So there is this where it is said that dharma swanushtita pumsan vishwakshena kadhasuya notpadiyad ratim yadi shrama eva hi kevalam. So Krishna mentions that when if one is doing, so it is mentioned in Srimad-Bhagavatam actually, that when one is doing one's duties very nicely, swanushtita pumsam, but one is not developing inclination to hear about Krishna, vishwakshena kathasuya notpadiyad ratim yadi, attachment to hear about Krishna, then it is shrama eva hi kevalam. So Krishna says, it is mentioned in Srimad-Bhagavatam that it is just a hard labor. So this shrutayo vibhinna, tarko pratishtat shrutayo vibhinna, nashav rishiv yasya matam na bhinnam. So all the rishis, they are called rishis because they have their own perspectives for anything. So that's why, and therefore all the rishis would have different perspectives to a particular thing. So dharmasya tattvam vihitam guhayam. So it is said that the actual intricacies of religion or engagement in the devotional service of Krishna is in the heart of a saintly person who is Mahajan. Mahajano yenagata sapantha. So it is the path that is traversed by the great devotees of the Lord. They are called Mahajans. Of course, it is the instructions that has to be followed. It is not that they have to be imitated. So there is another important aspect today, auspiciousness, the disappearance day of Haridas Thakur. And Haridas Thakur is considered an incarnation of Lord Brahma, who is another Mahajan. So it starts with Swayambhu. Swayambhu is Brahmadev. So Lord Brahma. Then Narada, Shambhu. Shambhu is Lord Shiva. Kumara, the four Kumaras. Sanak, Sanata, Sanatana, and Sanananda. So they are the four Kumaras. Kapila, Lord Kapila Dev, Manu, the first person who Brahmadev created. So Prahlada, Kapila, Manu, Prahlado, Janako, Bhishmo. So then Prahlad, Janaka Maharaj was father of Sita Devi. Bhishma Dev, Bhishma Dev is such an exalted personality that he was lying in the bed of arrows, and he was suffering so much, but he did not. He had that boon that he could die whenever he wanted, and even then he was in the Sharashaya, it is called, the bow of arrows, and so this is, and in the end, Sri Krishna himself is in his front. He gives up his body in front of Sri Krishna. And he gives the instructions to the Pandavas. So this is Bhishma, Prahlada, Janaka, Bhishma, Bali. So today, as I said, Onam is a day when. So what happens is, we'll go back to the story of Bali Mahabali, where the 3 steps of land is asked. Shukracharya says that no, don't give it. He's Vishnu himself. Then Bali Maharaj says that how fortunate I am that Lord Vishnu himself is coming to me. It can't be greater fortune than this. And he is ready to give up all the 3 worlds. So this is Jnana Vijnana Triptatma Kutastho Vijitendriya Yuktityuchyate Yogi Samalostra Asma Kanchana. So this is Vasudeva Bhagavad. So Krishna mentions that Jnana Vijnana Triptatma Kutastho Vijitendriya. So one who is fully satisfied in knowledge and the application of the knowledge, which is Vijnana, science. So science is actually an application of knowledge. Triptatma. So one who is fully satisfied in knowing that one is eternally related to the Lord, and in executing one's activities in that relationship. Jnana Vijnana Triptatma Kutastho Vijatendriya. So such a person has conquered the senses. Then in that state, one is Yuktityuchyate Yogi. So in that state, one is called the real yogi, where in that state, Samalostra Asma Kanchana. So in that state, so this was the state of Bali Maharaj, that he had all the 3 worlds. He was the emperor of all the 3 worlds, but he was ready to give it up immediately at the lotus feet of the Lord, Vamanadev. This is the greatness of the pure devotees of Krishna. They are not attached to anything. The only person they are attached to is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Maya Sakta Manapartha, Yogam Yunjam Vadashrayam, Asamshayam Samagram Mam Yatha Jnasisi Tachunu. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that Mai Asakta Manapartha. So when your mind is attached to me, Asakta, Yogam Yunjam Madashrayam. In that state, when one executes a yoga, in what state? Madashrayam. When one is surrendered onto the Lord. Yogam Yunjam Madashrayam, Asamshayam Samagram Mam. So Krishna says, undoubtedly, you will know me in full, totally. Samagram Mam. So in 100% you will know me, undoubtedly. Yatha Jnasyasi, you will know me, Tat Shrunu. So please therefore hear from me. So this is that state of the Vasudeva Bhagavati Tad Bhakteshu Cha Sadhushu, the Praptya. So this is said about Ambarish Maharaj. So he says that when he is Vasudeva Bhagavati Tad Bhakteshu cha Sadhushu. So when he has got that unalloyed devotional service to Krishna, his devotees and the pious people in general, Sadhushu, Prapto Bhavam Param Nityam. So it is said that Yenedam Loshtravat Smritam. Prapto Bhavam Param Vishwam Yenedam Loshtravat Smritam. So when one has got that loving sentiments for the Lord, his devotees and his followers, then Prapto Bhavam Purnam Vishwam Yenedam Loshtravat Smritam. So again, it is said that it is so the whole universe is like there is nothing, because the universe. What is the universe? Universe is Aham Sarvasya Prabhava Matta Sarvam Pravartate Iti Matva Bhajante Mam Buddha Bhava Samanvita. So Krishna says that that he is the cause of everything. So indirectly, the universe is Lord Himself in the form of His energy. So it is. So whatever is Lord's is being given back to Lord. This is even when one goes to Ganga or pious rivers, one takes the water and then offers it back to the river. So that is signifying that this is yours and it is going back to you. So this is a state of the pure devotees of the Lord, like Bali Maharaj, where he is. We see that Shukracharya actually takes the form of a bee, and he actually blocks the kamandalu. So there is a way where one offers the water at the lotus feet before one actually is giving the brahmanas what they want to give through the kamandalu. So we see that Shukracharya actually blocks the kamandalu as well. As a bee, he comes and he blocks it, and Bali Maharaj actually, even though he knows it, he actually takes the bee away. He pokes it, and that's why we see that Shukracharya's left eye, his left eye is damaged. We see that in whenever he's shown Shukracharya after this incident, it is shown that he doesn't have the eye. He has only one eye. So it is when he takes the form of a bee and Bali Maharaj pricks, and Shukracharya loses his one eye. So this is so even though Shukracharya was trying his 100% for Bali Maharaj not to give anything to Vamanadev, Bali Maharaj was 100% sure that he wanted to give. So this is the state of the pure devotees, like Mahabali. So he is, and then we know that so Padanaka Neera Janita Jana Pavana. So we have discussed in the previous one of the verses where Ganga Devi is. How Ganga Devi emanated from the lotus feet of Vamanadev. So that is Padanaka Neera Janita Jana Pavana. So through the nails of his toe, the Ganga Devi has come down to earth. So to the material world. Keshava Dhrita Vamana Rupa Jai Jagadisha Hare. This is so the surrendered ways of the devotees. So this was one, and then we say about another Mahajan here, who's Haridas Thakur. So it is his disappearance day today, and this is it's amazing. The more we hear about Haridas Thakur's pastimes, the more we can understand the greatness of the holy names of the Lord. Because he was chanting 300,000 names. So it's called Laksha in the Indian terminology. 100,000 is 1 lakh. It is called. So he was chanting 3 lakh names of the Lord. So that's around 190 rounds, something like that. So it's probably chanting 20 hours a day or something. So we understand. So Srila Prabhupada actually mentions in many of his lectures that doesn't mean that one imitates Haridas Thakur, because he is actually in a way then Mahajan, because he is considered incarnation of Lord Brahma. So it's not the imitation, but it is the understanding of the potency of the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this is So iti shodashaka namnam kali kalmasha nashanam nata parataropaya sarva vedeshu drishyate. So this is said in the Kali Santarana Upanishad that these 16 names are the 32 syllables of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. That is Kalika iti Shodashaka Namnam. So this is the 16 names or the 32 syllables. Kali Kalmasha Nashanam. So it destroys all the impurities in this age. Nata Parataropaya. And it is said that Sarva Vedeshu Drishyate. So it is said that after looking at all the Vedic scriptures, it is seen that there is no other solution to get rid of the impurities in this age of Kali. So this is Hare Namayava, Hare Namayava, Hare Namayava Kevalam Kalau Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gatiranyata. So it is said that there is in this age of Kali, so 3 times it is said Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Namayava Kevalam. So only the name of Hari, only the name of Hari, only the name of Hari. Hare Namayava Kevalam Kalau Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gatiranyata. So there is no other way, no other way, no other way in this age of Kali Yuga. This so we see that even though he was born and raised in a Mohammedan family, Haridas Thakur, he was he took up the chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra so nicely. So this is Aho Bata Shwapachotu Varyan Yad Jivagre Vartate Namatubhyam Tepus Tapaste Juhu Sashnurarya Brahma Nuchur Nama Grananti Yete. So this is said in Srimad-Bhagavatam that Aho Bata Shwapachotu Varyan Yad Jivagre Vartate Namatubhyam. So it is said that how glorious is such a person on whose tongue your holy name comes. So the holy name is directly Krishna himself. Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddho Nityamukto Abhinnatvat Nama Namino. So this is so the holy name of Krishna is a wish fulfilling gem. So any wish that someone has, all the wishes can be granted. So here in the Bali Maharaj's case, we see that he so with one step, Vamadev is taking the whole Bhu Bhuva Swaha. So he's taking all the material worlds. With the second step, he's taking the sky and the whole heavenly planets. Then he says, where do I keep my third step? Then Bali Maharaj says that please keep it on my head. So this is Atma Nivedanam. So Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnum, Smaranam, Padasevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atma Nivedanam. Iti Pumsarpitam Vishnu Bhakti Chet Navalakshana Kriyeta Bhagavati Adha Tanmanye Aditam Uttamam. So this is said by Prahlad Maharaj about the 9 types of devotional service, which starts with Shravanam, hearing about the Lord. So Parikshit Maharaj is the epitome of hearing about the Lord. And Kirtanam is Shukadeva Goswami. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Pada Sevanam. So Smaranam is Prahlad Maharaj. Pada Sevanam is Lakshmi Devi, serving the lotus feet of the Lord. We see always in the pictures of Sri Vishnu that Lakshmi Devi is always at the lotus feet of the Lord, serving him. Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam. So Archana is Prithu Maharaj. Vandana is Akrura. So the epitome of Vandana is Akrura. When he is bringing Krishna and Balram to Mathura, so when he sees Krishna and Balram, he offers prayers to Krishna and Balram, and that is Vandanam. Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakhyam, Atmanivedanam. Dasyam is Hanumanji. So we see that how Hanumanji was totally surrendered at the lotus feet of Lord Sri Ram. So he is always saying Jai Sri Ram, and all we see he had so much power. He is actually in the chariot of Arjuna as well, in the form of the flag, in the Hanuman's chariot. Hanumanji in Arjuna's chariot. Hanumanji's emblem is there in Arjuna's chariot. So he was in that form. Hanumanji was even there in the battle of Kurukshetra, protecting Arjuna, the Dharma. So this Dasyam Sakhyam Atmanivedanam. And then Arjuna is the friend of Krishna. Bhaktosi me sakha cheti. Rahasyam hi etad uttamam. Sa evayam mayate adya yoga prokta puratana. Bhaktosi me sakha cheti. Rahasyam hi etad uttamam. So Krishna says that because Arjuna, you are my devotee and you are my friend. This transcendental secret, mystery, I am telling this to you. And the mystery of spiritual science can only be understood when one understands that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the primary, basic foundation for understanding devotional service. So, Krishna says that bhaktyaham ekaya grahya. So only through devotional service. Na sadhyati mam yogo, na sankhyo dharma uddhava, na swadhyayas tapastyago, yato bhaktir mamorjita. So Krishna says this to Uddhava in Srimad-Bhagavatam that na sadhyati mam yogo. So Krishna says that through yoga you cannot know me. Na swadhyayas, na sadhyati mam yogo, tapa dharma uddhava, na swadhyayas tapastyago. So this is not through swadhyaya, not through self-study, not through austerity, not through renunciation. Yato bhaktir mamorjita. Na sankhya dharma uddhava. So not through sankhya, not through dharma. So only through devotional service. So bhaktyaham abhijanati. Yavan yaschasmi tattvata. Tato mam tattvato gyatva vishate tadanantaram. So Krishna says that only bhaktya. So bhaktya mam abhijanati. So through devotional service you can know me. There are other, like if you have this karma yoga, jnana yoga, what is that helping is in order to become free from all material designations. So that is the first step. When we are doing that yoga, one is coming to the platform of understanding that one is aham brahmasmi. So Mahavakya in the Upanishad. Tat Tvamasi. That is another Vakya. Brahma. So that is another Brahma Vakya. So all those statements of Vedas, like Tat Tvamasi. So you are that. So what that is eternally part and parcel of the Lord. Mame Vamsho Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. Manas Shashtani Indriyani Prakritistani Kashati. So Krishna says that you are all the living entities are my eternal part and parcels. So this is the understanding, and when this understanding is there, then the real devotional service can take place. So jnana karmadi anavritam anukulena krishnanushilanam bhaktiruttama anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karmadi anavritam anukulena krishnanushilanam bhaktiruttama. So this is said by Srila Rupa Goswami. What is the topmost devotional service? So that is anyabhilashita shunyam. When one does not have any other desire except to serve the Lord. That is the starting point. So we see that Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana sukritino Arjuna arto jignasur artharti jnani cha bharatarshava. Krishna says that 4 kinds of people, Chaturvidha bhajante mam. So they render devotional service to me. Jana sukritino Arjuna, who have piety in them, who have performed pious activities, they render, those 4 kinds of people render devotional service unto me. And who are they? Artho jignasur artharthi jnani cha bharatarshava. So Krishna says that the 4 kinds are one who is in distress, artho, one who is inquisitive, jignasu, one who wants wealth, artharthi, and one who is in knowledge, jnani. And this is the jnani. So tesham jnani nityuktam eka bhaktir vishishyate priyo hi jnani atyarthamaham sacha mama priya. So Krishna says that among all the 4, the one in knowledge is very dear to me. Why the person in knowledge is dear to Krishna? Because eka bhaktir vishishyate. Because the person in knowledge is rendering devotional service to me with one pointed focus, one pointed intensity. And therefore priyo hi jnani atyartamaham. So therefore the person in knowledge is very dear to me, and he is very dear to me, and I am very dear to him. So sadhavo hridayam mahyam sadhunam hridayam tuaham madanya tena janati naham tebhyo managapi. So Krishna says that sadho hridayam mahyam. So I am in the heart of the sadhus, and in the heart of the sadhus, I am there. So in Krishna's heart, the sadhus are there, and in sadhu's heart, the Krishna is there. Sadho hridayam mahyam, sadhunam hridayam toham, madanya tena janati. And the sadhus know no one else other than Krishna. Naham tebhyo managapi. And therefore, I also know no one other than the sadhus. This is we see in that pastime as well, where this is actually said to Durvasa Muni, that when Durvasa Muni is trying to harm Ambarish Maharaj, and then the Sudarshan Chakra is going behind Durvasa Muni, and Durvasa Muni is going to all the places asking for in terms of taking off this chakra, Sudarshan Chakra. He finally goes to Vishnu himself, Krishna himself, and Krishna says that you beg forgiveness directly from Ambarish Maharaj. So this is the Yeme Bhakta Jana Partha Nime Bhaktaschate Jana Mad Bhaktanam Chaye Bhaktas Teme Bhakta Tomo Mata. So Krishna says that one who is my devotee is not actually my devotee. One who is devotee of my devotee is actually my devotee. So Mad Bhaktanam Chaye Bhakta. So this is the greatness of the devotional service of the Lord. So Anyabhilashita Shunyam Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. So when one is totally devoid of the Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda, Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, Vishera Bhanda. So this is said by Narottam Das Thakur that there is no, it is ultimately that has some material inclinations there in terms of Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda. So therefore, Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. And then Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam. And when one is acting favorably in terms of rendering devotional service to Krishna, that is Bhakti Uttama. So that is the topmost devotional service. And then Narad Muni also gives a definition of Bhakti as Sarvopadhi Vinirmuktam Tatparatvena Nirvalam Hrishikena Hrishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Ruchyate. So Narad Muni is saying that when one gives up all designations, so this designation is what is binding the living entity to the material world. When one thinks, immediately when one gets a body, one is born in a particular country, and immediately one says that I am citizen of this country. That's the first, or I am the son or daughter of these parents. So immediately there is this upadhi, there is this designation, and therefore Narad Muni says that sarvopadhi vinirmuktam. So when one gives up all the designations, tat paratvena nirmalam, then one becomes pure. So therefore, yasyatma buddhi kunape tri dhatuke swadik kalatradhishu bhaumya jidi yat tirtha buddhi salilena karhichich janeshu abhigneshu sa eva gokhara. It is said in Srimad-Bhagavatam that when one thinks that one is made up of yasyatma buddhi, through the intelligence one is thinking that I am this body made up of bile, mucus, and air, tri dhatu. Yasyatma buddhi kunape. It's a bag of these three dhatus, three dhatuke, swadhik kalatradeshu. And through the intelligence, one is thinking that all the wife and all this thing is mine. Swadhik kalatradeshu, bhaumya ijyati, and the place where I am born is worshipable. Yat tirtha buddhi salilena karechich. And one is going to all the places of pilgrimage just for taking bath in the holy rivers. Janeshu abhigneshu, na janeshu abhigneshu, but one is not associating with the pious people who are there. Sa eva gokhara. So such a person, even though in the rarely attained human form of life, durlabham manusham janma. So this is tadapi adhruvam arthadam. So this is nrideha madhyam sulabham sudurlabham plavam sukalpam gurukarna dharam mayanukulena nabhasvateritam puman bhavadbhiya nataret sa atmaha. So this is very beautiful verse in Srimad-Bhagavatam where it is said that one attains this human form of body very rarely. Nrideham Adhyam Sulabham Sudurlabham Plavam Sukalpam Guru Karnadharam. So this human body is like a wonderful boat to cross the ocean of birth and death, and the Guru is the captain of that ship. So this human body is like a ship, and Guru is the captain of that ship, Guru Karnadharam. And Krishna is sending the winds in the right direction for the ship to move on. Krishna is creating that environment where one can cross over this ocean of birth and death. Mayanukulena nabhasvateretam puvan bhavadbiya nataret sa atma. So it is said that when such a nice ship is there, when such a nice captain is there, when such nice circumstances are there, then if someone is not crossing the ocean of birth and death, then is unfortunately like killing himself. So it is atmaha. So it is. So in that way, this is in this verse, punya shlokasya kirtaye. So this is punya shlokasya kirtaye. Kechid ahur ajam jatam punya shlokasya kirtaye. This is uttama shloka, punya shloka. So this is all the names of Krishna. So because shloka is the verses, and so Krishna is worshipped, glorified by these wonderful verses. Uttama shloka gunanu varnanam. So idam hi pumsa tapasa shrutasya va sviktasya suktasya cha buddhidateo avichyuta artha kavibhir nirupita yad uttama shloka gunanu varnanam. So this is the so whatever activities we are doing, finally it should be uttama shloka gunanu varnanam punya shlokasya kirtaye. So it is glorifying the transcendental activities of the Lord. So here Kunti Devi is saying Kechidahur ajam jatam. So some say that you are unborn. The unborn is born for punya shlokasya kirtaye, for the glorification of pious kings. Punya shlokasya kirtaye. Yado priyasya anvavahe. So, and others say that he is born to please King Yadu, one of your dearest devotees. So this is another point that Srila Prabhupada makes in this verse, that malayasya eva chandanam. So just like the Malaya hills is famous because of the sandalwood there, and so similarly the Yadu dynasty has become famous because Krishna actually took the decision to be born in that dynasty. So this is a beautiful example given here. So Srila Prabhupada actually mentions in the purport that although he is known as Yadava, Yaduvira, Yadunandana, etc., he is always independent of such obligation. He is just like the sandalwood that grows in the Malaya hills. Trees can grow anywhere and everywhere. Yet because the sandalwood trees grow mostly in the area of the Malaya hills, the name sandalwood and the Malaya hills are interrelated. That is Krishna's prerogative, that he took his birth in the family of Yadus, and therefore he is called Yadunandana or Yadukula Veera. So this is Krishna's prerogative. So he is always independent of such obligation. Therefore, the conclusion is that the Lord is ever unborn, like the sun, and yet he appears as the sun rises on the eastern horizon. As the sun is never the son of eastern horizon, so the Lord is no one's son, but he is the father of everything that be. This is another nice example that Srila Prabhupada gives in the purport, that how the sun, even though it seems that it is, we do see that it rises in the east and sets in the west, but that doesn't mean that the sun is the property of the east. No, because sun gives the light and heat to all the directions, irrespective of where it is rising from. So similarly, the Lord, irrespective of which dynasty he is born in, he is giving the causeless mercy to all the living entities. Samoham sarva bhuteshu name dveshyosti na priya ye bhajanti tum mam bhaktya mai te teshu chapiyaham. So Krishna says that this I am equal to all the living entities. Samoham sarva bhuteshu, and there is no one name dveshyosti na priya. So no one is I'm neither inimical to anyone nor I am very partial to anyone. Ye bhajanti tu me mam bhaktya mai te teshu chapiham. Then Krishna says that whoever is rendering devotional service to me in whatever way, I am reciprocating to them. So the example given is that of the rain falling at all the places, at all the surfaces. If the surface is soft and fertile, the grains will grow, the vegetation will grow. If the surface is hard, like a rock, then unfortunately nothing will grow. So this is here we see that Malaya Seva Chandram. So in Malaya hills, the sandalwood is grown. So in the hill, if there is some surface where there is softness, then there also vegetation will grow. So the main ingredient there is one being the dayaya sarva bhuteshu. So this is very important, that there has to be this one has to be very in terms of merciful to all the living entities. So that is very important. We see in Srila Haridas Thakur's pastimes as well how merciful he was. We see from his story that he was beaten in 22 marketplaces, as it is said. But he still did not have that. So this is the titikshava karunika suhridam sarvadehina ajata shatrava shanta sadhavo sadhu bhushanam. This is the qualities of the trinadapi sunichena taroriva sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. This is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying this, and it is said that one has to put a garland of this verse on one and chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, because in that state of mind, only one can chant, even in the Nama Bhasa stage, that at least an iota of that inclination of that verse has to be there. Trinadapi sunichena taroriva sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. When one thinks oneself lower than the grass, so the grass is trampled, but it doesn't object. That doesn't mean that one is totally one. So we see that Arjuna is, as a devotee of Krishna, was fighting the war of Kurukshetra. So humility is not meaning that one is not doing anything. Humility actually means that one does everything in the spirit of surrender to Krishna. So we see in Arjuna's example that he is fighting the battle of Kurukshetra on Krishna's instruction. Karishye vachanam tava. So nashto moha smritir labdva tvat prasad mayachyuta gatosmin stita sandeha karishye vachanam tava. So Arjuna actually says in the end that I'll do as you say, because Krishna actually gives yatechesi tatha kuru. So Krishna says that vimrishyeta dasheshena yathechyasi tatha kuru. So Krishna says to Arjuna that I have told you all this now, the whole Bhagavad Gita. Now you think and you decide and you do. So this is the greatness of the Lord, that He gives the independence to all the living entities. So he has given the instruction. He is there in the form of Paramatma, in the heart of all living entities. So he's giving direction, but at the end of the day, it is up to the individual living entities to act on that instruction from Krishna. Upadrashta Anumanta cha Bharta Bhokta Maheshwara Paramatmeti cha apiyukto dehesmin purusha para. So Krishna gives the permission. So if a living entity is adamant on going in the wrong direction, then finally the Lord gives the permission. But then the consequences has to be borne by the the living entity who is doing those actions. And that's this cycle of this actions and reactions. So therefore, yajnarthat karmano anyatra lokoyam karma bandhana. Tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. So therefore, Krishna says that all the activities have to be performed as as a as a service to the Lord. Yajnarthat karmano. Otherwise, there is karma bandhana. So there is this intricacies of involving in action and reaction. This constant cycle of action and reaction, which is because of which the living entity has to take birth after birth after birth. So bahunam janmanam ante jnanvan mam prapadyate vasudeva sarvamiti sa mahatma sudurlabha. When after taking many births, when one attains that knowledge that everything belongs to the Lord, so all the activities are done as a service to him, then such a person is a great soul. So Krishna says sa mahatma sudurlabha. And mahatmanas tu mam partham devim prakriti mashrita bhajan tananya manaso gyatva bhutadim avyayam. So Krishna says that Mahatma is a person who devim prakriti mashrita is under the control of the internal energy of the Lord. Bhajan tananya manaso gyatva. And in that, under the influence of that internal energy, one is constantly linking with the Lord, knowing that Krishna is the cause of all causes. So to conclude this verse, the main point that we can take is how the Lord, even though he is unborn, he is appearing in a particular dynasty according to his own prerogative. And the example given here is just like how the sandalwood appears in Malaya and they both become synonymous with each other. So similarly, the Lord appears to satisfy the devotees who are 100% surrendered onto him, and therefore the Lord gets known through his devotees, and the Lord prefers that address. So just like Radha Kanta, so the Lord prefers being addressed in relationship with his devotees, because the whole idea of the whole reality of devotional service is based on relationships between the Lord, between the devotee and the Lord, and between the devotees themselves. So on that note, thank you very much for allowing me to do this service. If there is any questions or comments, we can discuss. I haven't seen anything. Okay, thank you very much. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnavadre Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschyadya Deshitarine. Sarvam Shri Krishnarpanamastu.